Okay, so I'm out here at Glasshouse Mountains, and you can probably see by the start of that video that it's beginner's car park. If you know, you know. If you need to know, it's just on Google anyway. Um, what I wanted to make this video was about is my regular mates that I ride with all the time, and my best mate Crafty. None of them could make it because, well, I'm not working at the moment, and they all, of course, they all had to work. It's Friday, so I got on the Facebook group and asked, I saw somebody else was after a ride, and I just kind of joined in, and I was like, yeah, sweet, so I'm keen to go, keen to jump in, keen to go. Um, that was a little bit nerve wracking for me because as a fairly just above beginner rider, I was like, oh, a little bit timid. I did know the guy who led this ride, Darsten. So I was kind of confident. I knew, well, not confident, but I was like, I knew he was a lot better than me, but I also knew he'd be fairly patient. I didn't realise at the time that he'd have to be as patient as he was, but all part of the fun of it. Just a few notes. I did have to make a fair few silly little blunders like that one just right there. So I'm going to edit those out. I'll probably make a little bit of a bloop. I've made a bit of a blooper reel up and actually put it in the Facebook group for everybody to have a laugh at, because I thought, hey, if they had to be that patient with me, hey, they can have a laugh at my come-offs and trip-overs. But that's all part of the fun. I want you to be able to have a bit of a look at. There's some pretty nice tracks that we actually hit along here. So I'll try and fade in and out and point out a few little things that I did learn along this ride, as well as some of the great things about just your general enduro riders as a whole. Hope you enjoy this one anyway. So you can see we've turned into a trail here, but it's more of a logging track. However, when I first started, I was wondering why it seemed like you could never find trails. You couldn't really ask in groups, and it seemed like a bit of a taboo kind of a thing. The main reason for that is there's people and fun police and different people that don't like bikers and that sort of thing. What they do is they cover up the start of trails. The track variers have spent ages cutting out and making sure single track riders can go through there. These fun police will cover up the tracks. Then the bush is going to overgrow the track, and now we don't have some of the best tracks in Glassy to ride anymore. So it's not something that you're absolutely not allowed to know. If you want to know trails and tracks, actually get on your bike and go riding, find some friends, ask your friends, and they'll actually tell you where the tracks are. So he just asked, do you do rolling cornerman? The reason I have a bit of a chuckle there is because he doesn't actually realise how terrible I am at riding in comparison to the rest of them. So it's actually quite simple, and it's a great way to keep your ride together. It's can be a bit tricky to explain, so I'll just do my best. I feel like it's an important thing to know. So rolling cornerman works off the system that one person is a designated lead, so that the lead rider, he either has the GPS or he knows where he's going. He stays ahead of the pack, and every time he comes to a corner, he slows down or either stops, and he makes sure that the person behind him can see that he's turned right or left, or whichever way the trail's going. As you can see how I overtook them, the second rider will be the first cornerman. So he stops and he points his bike in the direction that the lead rider went, and then the rest of the pack will actually follow that direction. So now the second rider, the second cornerman now becomes the last cornerman of the thing, and so on. Also, at the back becomes the sweep rider or the trail rider. In my opinion, he's probably the most important man of the ride. And certainly in this case, he has to kind of deal with all the fallout and has to keep encouraging the crappy rider of the group, which in this case was me. So yeah, hopefully that explains it. If it doesn't, just
Yeah.
ask in the comments or shoot us a message, and I'll try and do my best to explain. It's really important. It keeps the group together and it keeps it safe. I actually will say a little bit more about the sweep rider later on in the group. It's such an important job.
Oh, wait.
Okay, so remember how what I was saying about the rolling cornerman system? It became a two-person rolling cornerman system. I think after those couple of routes threw me off and they realised how slow I was going, I think everybody just decided and realised that the sweep was going to make sure I survived the ride. um, so one thing I will say, like if this is you, I actually at this point in time I was actually trying to ride like I realised that they were way faster than me, and I just tried to I'm just going to do my best to keep up. If you're in that position, please don't do that. So the sweep, just up further, the sweep, really nice guy, Colin. He said to me, mate, you're just riding too fast. He actually had to tell me that about 6 times before I stopped. Well, I started to crash a bit less and started to ride properly, and therefore I sped up heaps. So if you're on a ride and you feel like you're the one that is holding up the ride and you're slowing things down, slow it down a bit, back off the throttle a bit, and start to use your clutch a little bit more. Feel the bike, start to wake the bike, and enjoy the ride rather than just try to race and keep up. Racing's for racing. If you're enduro/trail riding, it's about enjoying the ride.
Oh, wait. All right, that was the warm-up, eh?
Aside from slow down, ride at a pace that you're comfortable with and that you can feel like you can make it through about 3 or 4 hours worth of riding. That's about all the bike motorbike tips I feel like I'm qualified to give you on this one at least. But yeah, hopefully I can, yeah, as I learn a bit more, I'll share a few more tips. But what I wanted to make this video about was about, yeah, when you can't ride with your regular riding friends that are probably really close to your level, and maybe you get partnered up with people that, like I in this situation, yeah, just blokes off a Facebook group that I wasn't really sure about. And as soon as I've started riding, like about now, I've realised, oh wow, I'm well out of my depth. What I mostly wanted to talk about, yeah, my opinion on people that I've met on trails and on Facebook groups around dirt bikes. So probably the big thing is it kind of can feel like you can feel a bit intimidated and that sort of thing. I definitely felt super intimidated, especially at the start. rocking up. I didn't have my mates, so at the moment I don't have a ute, so I've actually ridden down from the coast to Glasshouse Mountain, so I'd actually put a bit of time in on the bike already, so I do feel already out of my depth. The guys that I'm riding with, I'll just use first names. No one's actually taken off their helmets and that sort of thing, so I'm not sure about the privacy of anyone or anything like that. So if you know them and you're watching and it's you, happy days. If not, I'm not going to go sharing all your personal details or or anything you've said to me on the trails or anything like that. Not that it's anything to worry about. I just if that's in your mind. But what I do want to say is, when it comes to feeling intimidated, remember other people are going to feel intimidated too. So this kind of feeling, I'm actually wanting to make a note of it for myself and go like, okay, hopefully in the future it's me that's leading, or it's me that's taking up the sweep ride and that sort of thing, and just making a note of, hey, these guys are really absolutely fantastic for me, and as part of the thing, I'd actually, I'm hoping that in years to come, it's me that can actually look after the unconfident, the novice rider on the group, and actually help them through the ride, because I feel like I learned more on this ride than on so many other previous rides. Look at me just riding off into the scrub like a retard. Am I allowed to use that word? Oh yeah. And as well as that, you get to listen to my dulcet tones whilst watching some absolutely fantastic scenery.
Thank you.
How awesome, right? And just amazing. A few little rocks to bounce on, which kind of brings me to what I was going to chat about next, and that is tyres and tyre pressure. So, a lot of the time when you get your dirt bike and that sort of thing, it's going to be, probably see, run like 16 or 18 psi. That is road riding pressure. For trails like this where it's low speed, and I actually didn't know this, we'd stopped up there a little bit earlier, and I said I was running 16 front and 14 rear, which is way too high. Not too bad on blacktop and like a bit of gravel, but for roads like this, it's just not going to give you enough traction. So what I actually we stopped just up here, and I actually let it down, so you can actually just push. So I could push the tyre in with my hand. Because what I really wanted, it's about 8 or 10 at the back, even maybe a little bit less if you are really technical, and around the same at the front, maybe 10 to 12 at the front, just a little bit more. That way you're just getting that bit more hook up, that bit more traction from the tyres. So now just bear in mind that the softer you go, the more you're going to be looking at potentially getting like those pinch flats by hitting sharp edges between like the rim, like pinching the tube between the rim and the surface. But if you ran tubeless, that'll solve that problem. However, like I said, I rode here on the blacktop, so I can't run tubeless. As well as that, I don't actually know too much about it, so hopefully I can tell you guys a bit more about that at a later stage. But yeah, like I was saying, this tyre pressure is just a little bit too hard. I'm not even going to talk about long hopping technique, because as you can see, well, watch the video. Eee, at least I've got the front tyre over it, right?
I just had to check the GoPro was still there. I'm spending more time off this bike than on it. Yeah. Woo! Yeah.
Go at your pace.
Yeah, we'll be waiting for you at a spot like this, you know.
I won't push you. You know what I mean? Like I've had my fucking traffic.
Alright, so
Stopping in the middle of the bush and having some trail chats, as I call them, is some of the best part of riding. And it's, well, I actually think riding is fantastic for your mental health. But one of the real point of riding is to have a good time. Nothing can stuff up having a good time than not actually being able to make it back, or not making it back in one piece or something like that. So, like I said before, ride at your pace, that's a given. Don't have your tyres pumped up too hard or too soft. Work out your tyre pressure. But tools is going to be something that's really important. So obviously you're not going to want to carry a whole toolbox with you, but a few things that you'll definitely want to have is some zip ties, a few nuts and bolts that you can potentially, maybe one falls out of your handguard or something like that, and then if you've got a loose handguard, you might be able to, well, I've had that happen, I've zip tied it back up. That was cool. But yeah, a lot of the time you're going to need to, if you just have a few nuts and bolts for your main things, that might work. And then just your spanners, shifter and knife. I like to carry a couple of meters of some sort of like that flat style rope in case you need to like give somebody a bit of a tow or pull or something like that. And tyre levers. Something that I didn't bring on this ride, and silly, is a 22-inch tube, because you can use that both front and rear to get you out in a pinch. Obviously not if you're running tubeless, but if you were running sweep, even if I was tubeless and I planned to go sweep, I'd still chuck a 22-inch tube in my gear, just in case somebody got a flat and they didn't have one like I didn't on this ride. It's just a bit embarrassing, but hey, you live and you learn, and I want to put that in there just so that you've got it. The other thing is you keeping yourself hydrated, and something that I made a massive mistake on this ride was, aside from riding too fast coming off, is I had to work really hard, and I bought I think about 2.5 litres of water and an apple and a couple of lollies, and that just really wasn't enough. Definitely need to make sure you're well hydrated, have some kind of electrolytes with you, and definitely like some lollies and stuff as well. Yeah, I got tons of cramps afterwards. Really, that was a big boo-boo. This part of the climb was absolutely insane. But like I was saying, make sure you look after your hydration and keep those sugars up. Oh, I know I said I wasn't going to say anything about motorbike riding tips and that sort of thing because I'm not qualified to give instruction. You can hear here, I actually have the bike off on a something that Colin told me on this ride, which was super important.
Peaceful.
Sometimes if the descent is looking a bit scary and that sort of thing, like I say, the important part isn't to be a hero, it's to make it through and get and do the ride. Switch the bike off and then just use the engine braking, like the clutch, let the clutch out to stop the back wheel when you're going downhill. In this case, I just sat on there and just kind of babied it down the hill, just rolling along, and then once I got to a bit of an easier spot, just fired it back up and then got stuck back into it. Well, I told you I was going to edit out the crashes just so that you could enjoy the scenery a bit more. Like I say, jump on Facebook group Classy Outcasts if you want to have a look at that. That'd be blue for real there. I want you to be able to enjoy some of this nice scenery and enjoy me getting stuck in the trees like a muppet here. Like I said, I've got to ride at my pace, not like a maniac.
pull up instead of you pulling the bike up. Pull back a little bit so you're out the corner. And same thing again, just try and pop a little wheelie, front wheel up. And worry about the left front wheels up. That's it. You can give it a little pump on the front and drop the clutch at the same time if you like. That's it.
Yeah, so that felt absolutely amazing. It was like, wow, look at me go, I can pivot turn over logs now. When I'm just watching that footage back, I'm like, yeah, that was pretty lame. But yeah, it was way outside of my comfort zone, and I didn't think I could actually do that. So yeah, I'm actually stoked, and I just must say again, I want to have a big shout out to the guys that helped me through that. Was John helped me over that log. Massive thanks, really appreciate it. And now this bit, I'm just going to cut this because it's just too embarrassing for me to even share. The point is, these blokes are absolute dead set legends. I'm pretty sure I've chewed up all of their patience at helping out big time. Like I say, if you're thinking about going riding with some people that you haven't ridden with before, I can probably guarantee they're pretty decent people because yeah, there's a few other people we've had on our rides, and all the guys that, even though I've met Dustin like only once before, the other guys are just dead set, great bunch of blokes, fantastic to ride with. If there was anyone on this group that was the taxing one of the group, shall I say, person was definitely me. So if you're new to riding and using the group, it's probably going to be you. So make sure you go along. Definitely go along. Get the courage and do it, and then learn from that. And then you've got something that years down the track you can pay that forward. Happy days. Massive shout out to Cole. So if you're ever watching this, thanks an absolute ton for the ride. Wouldn't have survived through that. You would have given up a lot sooner. However, yeah. So if it's ever you, and in my case, I actually bailed out on this ride early due to running out of water and running out of battery in my GoPro and just running out of energy at all. But I owe you more than one beer, and if you're ever in my position and you're the slowest rider or the least experienced rider on the pack, the sweep rider, in this case Cole, you definitely owe a beer, probably more than one. So yeah, massive shout out and massive thanks to that. So I did say I was going to mention a little bit more on the sweep rider. It's definitely a position for the more experienced person. I've had in the past when I first rode and that sort of thing, and I've had like other riders ride with me and say, oh, just chuck me down the back, that way I'll go at my own pace. You're far better off riding up ahead or riding in the middle of the pack. That way the other riders can keep tabs on you and keep watching you, sort of look out for you. If you're at the back, you're kind of relying on yourself, and you're also kind of making sure everybody else is right. You're the one that's got to have the tools, have the spare tube, mate, you know what I mean? And it's kind of your responsibility to make sure everyone stays together. So don't think riding at the back is like for the slow person. Riding at the back is the big task. So yeah, don't fall into that trap of thinking, oh, I'm just riding at the back, I can ride slow. Nah, riding at the back, the person that's riding at the back is definitely the big dog on the ride. So thanks, mate.
Yeah.
As you go around, you just see a little black body filming around. Just try and wheelie from there.
Right.
Wheelie up on the road.
Right.
So pretty much you'll just commit once you go around.
too scared. Sort of.
That was pretty on the money, that.
I made it though, right? Kind of, sort of, with a lot of help from a bunch of guys that I was nervous about meeting. In the end, they ended up like saving my life. Yeah, well, cool. It's awesome. And watch this. This next track has a few little logs. And after that, well, that was a bit of a challenging one, that first one. But the next, kind of just almost, I felt super confident going over these. So it was a massive step. Literally before I went on, like the ride before, I was actually saying, oh, I need to practice logs. And I'm going to have to start with a log that's kind of like, maybe like 2 or 3 inches high, because I'm like too scared to go over them. And a couple of hours into this ride, and I'm just gliding over logs. I think this might be about an hour and a half in. I'm pretty sure about 2 hours is where the battery goes flat. But yeah, like I said, I just basically wanted to make this little video of me chatting about
Can't believe I made that.
not having to ride with the people that you always ride with, unless you're really keen to just stay inside your comfort zone. I think it's great to, I'm not saying every ride, but get outside of your comfort zone a little bit, push the limits a little bit, just learn from people as you go.
Cool. There it is.
Sneaky. Apparently we've been, well, apparently we've been listening to a bit of a track here, so I'm going to test out this little section of, I think it's called Zigzag. But yeah, all I did want to say is how good is the scenery and how much does it change from like literally within a couple of 100 metres you'll be in amongst almost like palm trees, and like in the next minute it's kind of like woodlands, and then the next minute it's like rainforest. Next 1 minute, you're going up and you're going down, and yeah, I think it's my favourite thing that I've really started to like about riding and trail enduro style riding is just getting out in the trees, just being out in nature. Feels like you really could be anywhere in the world.
Hey, no, I just hit the tree. Got me, yeah, I'm fine. I just got me fucking foot stuck under the fucking thing. Yeah. That's out now. Yeah. Hey?
I've got to lay my bike over again to give you a hand.
No, you're alright. Actually, I got this tree through the fucking mudguard. Sorry, bro.
Clutch in. Clutch in.
Yeah, clutch is in. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. I gotcha. on the right track. Yeah. Oh, that's sick. This is focused tight. No way! So yeah, shortly after this I ended up running out of battery, and I think one more little crack later on I had to call it to go home. Like I was saying earlier, if you don't manage your hydration and really importantly your electrolytes, I didn't on this ride and it backfired on me massively. I started getting like a ton of cramps, started really suffering. So my plan for the next one is put some electrolytes. I think get like Gatorade powder and that sort of thing. I'll just put some in the camelback and make sure my camelback is chock full. Pretty sure it was, but I'm going to make damn sure it is right before I leave next time, and then have a big dose of water because this one got the better of me. It also doesn't hurt to chuck a few jellies, a bit of fruit in your backpack just to keep those sugars for the body. It kind of knocked me for about 3 or 4 days afterwards. I was just kept on getting cramps, kept on being dizzy. And that's not what you really want. You want to just, like I said, you really want to enjoy your ride, not get stuck feeling horrendous. Just the quality of my riding went downhill. I left a fair bit of my riding in there. We'll go back to the start, to how I was riding, how much clutch I was giving it as compared to how much acceleration I was giving it. Massively changed. So the big thing you see, not riding advice, but just my own personal learnings, is what I really found made a difference was I was giving it, I'm revving it too hard and then not actually engaging the clutch enough at the start of the ride compared to the end of the ride. I'm revving it much less, but actually staying more on the friction point with the clutch. It's actually getting a lot more traction down the back tyre. As well as that, I'll take about 8 psi out of the back tyre. Massively more traction, we'll say. This rider did move the bike out 3 times. 2 of them weren't too bad, but one of them was a pretty decent one. A little bit scary, but yeah, there was no real injury to me or to the bike. Where as long as you've got your protective equipment on and you keep your head in the game, you're going to be pretty fine. So yeah, like I say, if you're thinking about getting out there with people that, even though it's going to be a bit outside your comfort zone, like in my situation, I was more of the one that they had to be worried about more than me being the one worried about them. So like I say, most of your enduro trail style riders are going to be pretty decent guys. So in my opinion, get out there, take a risk and enjoy the day. Until next time, ride like a maniac. I mean, ride safe. And yeah,